Welcome to NFL, where the NFL starts and ends. One of our videos was corrupted, and that was the game recaps of Week 3 and the previews of Week 4. Week 3's recaps were Week 2's recap on the Monday night was Bills had stomped the Titans 41-7, and the Eagles had beaten the Minnesota Vikings. The Bills was surprising by how much they won by, not the fact that they were going to win, but by how much they won. The Titans ended up putting Malik Willis near the tail end of the game. He didn't look much better than Tannehill. The Titans obviously made the decision to still go with Tannehill over Malik Willis heading into Week 3. So, that's not going to... Malik Willis won't take over probably until, if anything, the latter part of the season. For the Eagles, I don't know if it's because their torch hot start is because of how good they've been or how bad their opponents have been, which is equally as interesting because you can say you were given Detroit, then you given Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota was 1-0. But then you were also given, this week, the Washington Commanders. So, a lax schedule to start could explain why they're 3-0. But they did beat Minnesota 24-7. The Ravens beat the Patriots 37-26. The Patriots Mac Jones looked okay, didn't look great. Offense didn't look great for the Patriots. Mac Jones did in fact get hurt on the last interception, which ended up being the last Patriot play of the game. He has an ankle sprain, could miss some time, will know only in a later date. The Dolphins outlast the Bills 21-19 after, at one point, near the final seconds, or the final minute I should say, the Dolphins were winning 21-17, were forced to punt on their 1-yard line, and the punt from Thomas Morstead, who hadn't been blocked in over 600 punts and only had been blocked once in his career, punted it and it hit his personal protector's backside, ended up being a safety, and the Bills had a chance to win the game in the final seconds, but were just too tired to get out of bounds, get the kicker on, just ran out of time. The Packers again outlast the Bucks 14-12 in a game where the 2 touchdowns for the Packers were in the first 2 drives, one a 10-play drive, one a 12-play drive, and then didn't do much of anything after that. The Bucks defense stood tall the remainder of the game. Bucks offense is really why they lost this game. They couldn't hang on to the football. They were as much to blame as the defense, at least in the first half, because the Bucks would move the football but then fumble, and that happened all the time. They fumbled 4 times and still had a chance to win. Now, I don't know if that's because of how good that Buck defense is, or how good how bad that Packers offense is. That is all to be questioned. And finally, for the end of the game, was the Broncos beat the 49ers. And really, again, that shouldn't have been on Sunday Night Football. The Broncos beat the 49ers 11-10. And at one point, we had our own... At one point, we had our own Dan Orlovsky moment from Jimmy Garoppolo, as Jimmy Garoppolo stepped out of bounds twice before throwing an almost would have been an interception and returned for a pick 6. I don't understand why this was a Sunday night game, because you can flex these games. You can't say you can't do that, because you've done it in the recent years. Of you flex games that have prime time that would be in prime time that now aren't. The 1 o'clock games, like the Cowboys and Cardinals last year ended up being a 4:25 game. That should have been a 1 o'clock game. They flexed it into a 4:25. A few years ago, the Giants and Cowboys were going to play at 1 o'clock, as well as the Eagles and Washington. And if Washington won, they would win the division. But if Philadelphia won, the winner of the Cowboys-Eagles game would have been in the playoffs and would have won the division. And the NFL decided to flex that game between Washington and Philadelphia into Sunday night, waiting for the Giants and the Cowboys to have theirs at 1 o'clock. So this game didn't deserve to be a Sunday night football game. Terrible play calling on the Broncos' behalf, and the lack of urgency for the 49ers to even do much of anything. So, to me, just not a Sunday night football game. A lot of defense yesterday also in those time slots. For Monday night between Cowboys and Giants, Giants are favored by 1. As it's recorded, this is done prior to that game. The Giants are favored by 1. I see the Cowboys winning. Jason Peters is expected to play. He is going to suit up, play some left guard, be on a pitch count. However, Michael Gallup is expected to not play, which is surprising because he did practice all last week, or at least from Wednesday to Saturday was a full participant. And also was Dalton Schultz. He's still going to get a little bit of a go. He's still going to try to run. More like a game time decision. But it looks like he's not going to go either. Just the Cowboys being a little cautious on both those guys. Which means a lot of Noah Brown tonight. Next up would be Dolphins at Bengals. I think they said it was only like a 3-point favorite for the Dolphins. I'm taking the Dolphins. I think Tua and the Dolphins are better than the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are good enough to hold up with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, and all those boys in Miami. The score would probably for the Cowboys would be 28-21. Dolphins would be 38-14. Bills at Ravens. Ravens getting plus 3.5. I'm taking the Ravens. 36-31. Cowboys versus Commanders on Sunday for the start of week 3 at 1 o'clock. Cowboys are going to win this. I don't trust Carson Wentz. Cowboys are going to win. Score is 24-14. Patriots at Packers. Packers are going to win easily. I think Packers are going to win 38-17. Finally, Chiefs at Bucks. Bucks are going to win. Scores 36-21.